Look at this. We got Strombolis. Matt, come on in here, Matt. Get in here, Matt. Hey, I want to hear about the great story of how the chips. Matt, get in here, Matt. We're looking forward to it. The true Stromboli, VG, which is
love a Stromboli.
The history of it and the whole thing. As I'm fighting off the sneeze, you may have to start. You and Johnny Goodtimes will have to do the show.
Like you need a mute button.
Do the whole thing. Yeah. There's nothing like the whole
dude.
fighting
It's
off
the worst.
the sneeze.
And then you get the tickle, like where it feels like there's a feather in there.
Oh my God, it is the worst. Look at this,
What do you say, cuz?
Romanos. This is unbelievable. Look at that. Whatever, right here. Show the people. So you guys sit down, Matt, Dad, the whole thing. You got to be able to do that. Great story, the Romano family. In fact, I look at Dad and I know what kind of Eagle fan he is. He once held the wires for Jimmy Johnson when the Eagles sacked the Cowboys 11 times, which is an incredible feat, right? So when Hers did their local flavor, which is really cool, right? Like they did the Primo's chips, they've done all different things. They went Stromboli. Now, in honor of Matt Strom, right, who's an all-star, we decided we got to find out about the historic Romanos Stromboli, where Hers captured the flavor. Mr. Romano, what do you say, buddy?
How you doing, cuz? Hello, Philly. Glad to be here. Thanks for
Dude,
having me on.
I got to tell you, this story's awesome, man. By the way, Hers did an amazing job with the chip.
They sure did. They sure did. Hers really has really reached out to try to help area local independent.
I love
businesses.
that.
Yeah, and it's really like it's a whirlwind. They came to me last November. I didn't really know that much about the contest, and they said we were one of 1,000 people, 1,000 businesses. They had gotten it down to 12. They were going to get back to me in 3 weeks, and they let me know if it was one of the three. If you were one of the three, you had to sign an NDA, and then they were going to do an R&D to design the chip flavor.
Wow!
And I had nothing to do with it at all. A customer submitted the flavor, because I was like, oh, you know what? I got a Philly special Stromboli. Like, why don't we go with that?
Right.
You don't get to pick that. That's picked by the customer. So they came in, they did the R&D. They came in with 4 sample chips. My father rejected every single one of them. My father's 92.
Oh my God!
And we're living on his taste buds because he still checks all the flavors that we have.
Are you serious?
Our
That's
marinara,
awesome.
our bolognese, our veal scallopine, our sauteed
Really?
mushrooms. Oh yeah, oh yeah. His office is right next to the kitchen, and he just camps out there all day long.
Tell us about. So you guys were one of the original Strombolis.
We are
The
originators of
Right.
the Stromboli sandwich. My grandfather.
Yeah, tell me the story. First of all, thank you, and thanks to the Romano family, because there is no better treat than the Stromboli.
I love the Strombolis. Top 3.
I love
it's
this.
top of my
I love
power
this City
rankings.
of Brotherly Love stuff. I love it. It's incredible. I look at the Stromboli stories like Ben Franklin when he invented the lightning rod. He didn't know anything when he designed the stove. He did it, but he didn't stop everybody else from having it. The Stromboli belongs to everybody. But the reality is, my grandfather, Nazareno Romano, created the world's first Stromboli sandwich. He didn't create stuffed bread, okay? He was the first person to tag a food item with the word Stromboli. That had never happened before. And the story goes like this. It's 1950, and my grandfather had come into Essington. He was a South Philly guy, okay? Immigrated from Italy in 1922.
From where? What region?
Abruzzese is
Abruzzo.
L'Aquila, up in the mountains where all the earthquakes are.
Yeah.
And he was a stonemason by trade. He was active in the resistance against the fascism of Mussolini. In 1922, his family said, you got to get out of the country. It's not safe for you. And he came to America. He ends up in Philly. There's a lot of story about that, but he ends up in 1944. He opens up the Essington Pizzeria in Essington, Pennsylvania, and his featured item was tomato pies. He'd been selling them out of a wagon cart during the Depression to feed his family. You know, there's another story behind that.
That's beautiful.
But, you know, he would have his 2 kids. He had a little wagon cart. And he pulled down Washington Avenue. Pizzola, 10 cents
Oh
a
my
slice.
God! Yeah, Pizzola.
Pizzola.
Oh my God! I can imagine.
And then the kids would run up to the stoop of the house, you know, the front door, and give him a slice of pizza. So 1950, he's got this stuff on the counter. And in Italy, he says back home, they called it imbotito or imbotito. It's a slang word in Italian. It means stuffed bread. And so, you know, what he had in it, he was taking the bread recipe and he was trying to do a takeoff on the Di Costanza's hoagie. The hoagie became very popular. And where he was located on the Industrial Highway, that was like Shipyard Road. There was all kinds of heavy industrial.
Sure, yeah,
More ships were built in the Second World War in that area than any other place in the world.
And that's a great lunch spot, right?
There were a lot of Italians coming to work. The whole story about the Hoggies, and you know, they were coming with these big sandwiches, and they, you know, that's how the hoagie kind of name. That's one of the stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, he took capicola, boiled ham, cottagino, and roasted bell peppers and cheese, and he wrapped them in this bread dough. He puts them out on the counter and cuts them up and was serving to his customers. A neighbor across the street from the Industrial Highway, his name was William Schofield. He was to become my Uncle Bill. He married my father's sister. He's in the store, and he goes, what do you got here today, Nat? And Grandpa says, this is just something from home, you know. And he goes, well, what's it called? And he goes, I really don't have a name for it. He said, well, you got to have a name. And Nat says, well, you try it. What would you call it? And right off the top of his head, Uncle Bill says, Stromboli.
Really?
Now,
is that from Stromboli? From the
here it comes. So 1950, okay? 1950, worldwide news. They called it the biggest scandal of the decade, of the 50s. Ingrid Bergman, Roberta Rossellini, she wanted to do a film with him.
Oh my God.
Italian noir film.
Right.
On the island of Stromboli. The movie was called Stromboli. They were married to other people with children. They get romantically involved, and there's a love child. That was the scandal of the 50s. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody.
Oh, wow.
So
You got to be kidding me. So they
it was in the
off
public
of the
domain.
movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's fabulous.
And of course, Uncle Bill, you know, he's going, yeah, Stromboli, yeah. So that tells you about Uncle Bill. And
That's awesome.
It stuck. And I mean, it would be 6 or 7 years for anybody else would even try to sell a Stromboli sandwich.
Wow.
I think.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
First of all, I love the fact that it was bread dough, right?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
pizza dough.
Not pizza
because
dough.
people use pizza dough. It's really not supposed to be. It's supposed to be bread
This is an
dough.
artisan bread sandwich.
Yes.
Because it takes me about 7 or 8 hours. They're made in batches. You have to, just like an Italian bakery, the protocol is exactly the same without bread.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It proofs 4 times before I can cook it.
You're right.
So, you know, you're manipulating dough. You're breaking down the tendons. You're tightening it back up, letting it raise. And then when it's finally ready, you lay it out. The ladies, the bowly girls, they're at the table. And they fill them up, and they close it. We have a technique for closing it that we've used for 74 years. The Stromboli is 74 years this year. And then it goes in the proof box the final time. When it's ready, I part-bake them. And I've been doing that
it's awesome.
since my grandfather started in 1950.
When did the pepperoni, right? Because when I was a kid,
Yes.
my mother, she used to make pepperoni. Like, it was always pepperoni Stromboli. Yeah. She did other ones, like whatever. But the pepperoni, when did the pepperoni take? Because that's still number one, right?
Well,
like today?
So Grandpa created 3 flavors. We have 18 flavors today, okay?
Wow.
And just, you know, when you're around for 80 years, things tend to grow.
God bless you guys.
So
I love this story. It's a great story.
I'm happy to tell it to you. I'm glad you want to hear it. It's so
he's going to option your story.
When Grandpa
Yeah, we're gonna
first
make a
started,
movie.
there was 3 flavors. There was original sweet, original hot, and original pepperoni. And the pepperoni was right there in the beginning because not everybody liked peppers. Some people can't eat peppers. So the pepperoni Stromboli was one of his originals.
That was his original creation.
One of his, yep. That was
Which he still like, which is always. I have to be honest. That's probably my favorite. I do like the capicola and all that stuff. I enjoy that.
Well, today you're going to try the special hot. Now that's got 6 different kinds of meats in it. That's the one that the herds chose.
Oh, I
flavor.
can't wait to try it. Oh my God,
it's good
this
again.
is fabulous.
Capicola, boiled ham, a sliced pepperoni, a Genoa salami, and brigittine.
Brigittine. Oh my
Brigittine,
God.
the
What's
we use the
Brigittine?
Barry brand
Yeah.
Brigittine.
What is
Barry
it?
Brothers.
Yeah.
What's Brigittine?
Not so there's a Brigittino.
Yeah.
But this is Brigittini. It's like a
pepper
black
ham.
peppered ham.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you know it. You
So
the
how many,
Columbia,
how
we
many,
kind of
how many
know.
bowlies do you go through in a week? Do you?
So it's about, I would say about 400 or 500.
All right.
You know, but we
Yeah.
ship them all over the country.
Okay.
We ship them on goldbelly.com, and we also ship them on Romanos Strombolis.com. Here
love
I go.
it.
You're not going to be able to stop me.
So
Get out
you
of his
got to
way.
adopt Matt Strom for the Phillies run, okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we call him Stromboli, right? Like,
Okay.
You know, he's an all-star.
I've heard that story, yeah.
He's the bat. Like, you know, he's having an amazing season. Phillies, as you know, have an amazing season.
Yes, they are.
You know,
Yes,
the
they are.
Romanos. We got to do the Strom for the Stromboli, right?
Okay.
Yeah, hers needs to work this out, man.
I'd
They
love
can
to
make
meet
these
him.
worlds meet.
You know, but I think what hers is doing for
Tremendous.
like I love your story, man.
Tremendous.
I've heard about you for years, right? And I'm like, I can't believe like our people created the Stromboli. Like one of the favorite treats. Like, you know, that's where Philadelphia's the best. Like all of our treats make it, you know, worldwide. And the Stromboli is one of the greatest things ever.
Because, man, I tell you another story. 2015, we had just done a renovation in the building. We didn't know if we were going to stay open or not, and it wasn't cheap. And and about 5 months after we reopened, I get a phone call from a lady. Her name was Nick Vetter. She worked. She was a production manager for the Travel Channel and their program, Delicious Destinations.
Yes.
You know, Bizarre Foods.
Yes.
So she calls me, and I'm in the office. I'm in my dad's office because I'm in my dad's building, and his desk is there, mine's there, and she's talking to me, and she's, you know, I'm Nick Vetter. I know that your grandfather invented the Stromboli sandwich, because that's the mission statement of my life, to get that straightened out, that my grandfather invented.
love it.
Okay? So anyway, she says, we're coming to Philadelphia. We're going to do a program called Iconic Foods of Philadelphia, which we feel you're one of them. And we want to come.
Damn right you are.
We want to come and film you making Stromboli. So I said, okay. She says, now there's a couple forms you got to fill out. So she emails them to my dad, sitting there listening to the conversation. Again, he's 92 years old now. He wasn't 92 then. So anyway, so he says, who was that? I hung up the phone. She says, who was that? I said, Nick Vetter from the Travel Channel. I really wasn't really familiar with the Travel Channel, to be honest with you. I'm in the kitchen washing dishes and making Stromboli or whatever. So I said, they want to come film here. You know what my dad said? How many times do I have to tell you? Nobody gets to see how we make Stromboli.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
Oh my God, your father. That's
So,
amazing.
now, can you imagine over the decades? So that was just a good day for me. I said, okay, Dad, I just let it go. 2 weeks later, she calls me back and she says, you know, is everything okay? And I said, what? She says, you didn't sign the release forms. I said, oh, there's the problem. My dad doesn't want you coming in here to see how we make Stromboli. And if my dad don't want you coming in here, you don't want to be in the building. And she says, no problem. She says, whatever you don't want us to see, just don't show us. And I turned to Dad and I said, Dad, we can just show
Oh,
up.
that's fabulous.
Oh, they can come then. They can come on in.
Oh, that's great. Do me a favor, hang tight.
We all silly like the mayor.